My brothers and sisters, have you ever noticed that one raised voice can destroy an entire day? One angry outburst can shatter a heart that may never fully heal. Yelling doesn't solve problems. It creates wounds. It breaks trust. It silences love. The truth is, a loud voice doesn't make you stronger. It only exposes your weakness. Real strength is when you can stay calm while your heart is burning inside. Real strength is when your words bring healing instead of harm. Because a gentle word can move mountains, while a loud word can destroy even the strongest hearts. And this is something we often forget in the heat of the moment. We forget that once words leave our mouths, they can never be taken back. You may apologize later, you may regret what you said, but those words will still linger in the mind of the person you yelled at. They may forgive you, but they may never forget the pain you caused them in that moment. The scars of harsh words remain long after the sound of yelling has faded. This is why self-control is such a powerful quality. It is not just about controlling your actions. It is about mastering your emotions, your impulses, and your words. A person who can control their tongue is a person who can win hearts, build bridges, and maintain peace. But a person who cannot control their tongue will always find themselves surrounded by broken relationships, bitterness, and regret. There are people who have lost lifelong friendships because of a single moment of yelling. There are marriages that have been destroyed, not because of a major betrayal, but because of constant shouting that eroded love over time. There are children who grew up distant from their parents because they associated their childhood not with warmth, but with harsh voices. And there are workplaces where employees quit, not because of the job itself, but because they could not tolerate the constant yelling of their supervisors. These are the real consequences of letting our anger dictate our tongues. If only we understood the true value of silence. Sometimes the best response is not to yell, not to argue, not to retaliate, but simply to remain calm and silent. Silence has a dignity of its own. It disarms the one who is yelling at you. It shows that you are in control of yourself, that you are not allowing someone else's anger to drag you down to their level. And when you finally speak after that silence, your words carry weight because they were not uttered in haste, but chosen with wisdom. Imagine two people in conflict. One is yelling, shouting, raising their voice, while the other remains composed, calm, and speaks only when necessary. Who do you think will be respected more? Who do you think will be taken seriously? The one who yells loses credibility, while the one who remains calm gains respect. This is why gentleness and patience are not weaknesses. They are strengths that elevate you above others. But to reach this level, you need to practice. You need to train yourself not to respond immediately in anger. Whenever you feel your emotions rising, pause. Take a deep breath. Count to 10 if you must. Walk away if you can. Do whatever it takes to prevent yourself from erupting. Because once you yell, you cannot undo it. But if you control yourself, you will later thank yourself for not saying something that could have damaged a relationship or tarnished your character. Think about this. If yelling was truly effective, then the world would be full of changed people. But it is not. Yelling does not inspire change. It inspires resistance. The louder you shout, the more the other person resists you, either openly or silently. They may appear to obey you for the moment, but in their hearts, they are rejecting you. Change that comes through fear is temporary. Change that comes through respect and love is lasting. So if you want to raise your children to be good, don't rely on yelling. Show them love. Guide them with wisdom. Discipline them with patience. If you want your spouse to respect you, don't shout at them. Treat them with kindness, even when you disagree. If you want your friends to value you, don't scream at them when they make mistakes. Advise them sincerely with care. If you want your employees to work hard, don't belittle them with harsh words. Motivate them, encourage them, and they will give you their best. And let us not forget, yelling is often a reflection of what is inside us. When we are unhappy within ourselves, when we are stressed, when we are burdened with life's challenges, we often take it out on others by yelling. We make them the target of our frustration. But this is not fair. Just because you are having a bad day does not give you the right to ruin someone else's day with your harsh voice. Everyone you meet is fighting their own battles. Everyone has their own struggles. You never know what someone is going through, and sometimes your yelling may be the final straw that breaks them. Why would you want to carry the weight of that on your shoulders? Instead, become a source of comfort for others. Be the person whose voice soothes, not the one whose voice intimidates. Be the person people turn to when they are in pain, not the one they avoid out of fear. This is true strength, to uplift others, to encourage them, to bring peace to their hearts. Remember also that yelling often exposes a lack of wisdom. The wise do not need to raise their voices to be heard. Their words carry weight because of their knowledge, their character, and their calmness. The ignorant, on the other hand, feel the need to shout because they think volume equals power. But volume does not equal power. Wisdom equals power. Yelling may make people silent for the moment, but wisdom or makes them reflect forever. There is another important point to reflect on. When you yell, you give control to your emotions. But when you remain calm, you are in control of yourself. Which one is more admirable? Which one is more beneficial for you in the long run? Every time you resist the urge to yell, you are building inner strength. You are training yourself to be a master of your own soul, not a slave to your emotions. Sometimes people say, but I can't help it. I just explode when I'm angry. This is not true. You can help it if you choose to. Anger is natural, but yelling is a choice. You cannot always control what you feel, but you can always control how you respond. Don't give yourself excuses. Train yourself. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. One day you will face a situation that would have made you scream in the past, and you will handle it with calmness. That day you will realize how much you have grown. Life is full of tests. People will annoy you, disappoint you, hurt you, and even provoke you. But each of those moments is a test of your character. Will you lower yourself to yelling, or will you rise above with patience? The choice is yours. And remember, every choice you make shapes the person you are becoming. If you choose to yell often, you will become known as someone harsh, unpleasant, and feared, but not loved. If you choose to remain calm, you will be known as someone wise, respected, and admired. Words are powerful. They can either be daggers or they can be medicine. Yelling turns your words into daggers that wound hearts. Gentleness turns your words into medicine that heals souls. Which do you want your words to be? Think carefully before you speak, because once your words leave your lips, they become part of your record, part of your identity, part of someone else's memory. Make sure they are words that uplift, not words that tear down. The next time you're about to yell, picture yourself standing at a crossroads. One path leads to regret, broken hearts, and damaged relationships. The other path leads to peace, respect, and stronger bonds. Which path will you choose? The decision is in your hands every single day, in every single interaction. And the beauty of this self-control is that it does not just benefit others, it benefits you too. When you stop yelling, you will notice that your own heart feels lighter. You will feel more peace within yourself. You will notice that your relationships improve, that people respect you more, that you are calmer and more balanced in life. Yelling drains your energy, but calmness protects it. Yelling makes you bitter, but patience makes you wise. So ask yourself, what legacy do you want to leave behind? Do you want to be remembered as the person whose voice was feared, whose presence caused anxiety, whose words broke hearts? Or do you want to be remembered as the person whose voice was soothing, whose presence brought comfort, whose words healed wounds? Every day, through your choices, you are writing your legacy. Choose wisely. Because the reality is, the people around you are constantly learning from you, whether you realize it or not. Your children, your siblings, your friends, your colleagues, they are all observing your behavior, picking up on your habits, and often imitating them. If you are someone who frequently yells, then you are teaching others that yelling is acceptable. You are normalizing a destructive behavior that will continue to echo long after you are gone. A child raised in a house full of yelling often grows up believing that yelling is the only way to solve problems. They then carry that same pattern into their friendships, their marriage, their workplace, and their own parenting. The cycle repeats generation after generation unless someone decides to break it. And you can be that person who breaks the cycle by choosing calmness over yelling, by choosing wisdom over anger, by choosing patience over aggression. When you change your approach, you don't just improve your own life, you improve the lives of everyone around you. You plant seeds of gentleness that continue to grow in others. Imagine a child who sees their parent dealing with frustration, not by yelling, but by calmly explaining, by showing empathy, by guiding with kindness. That child will learn that true strength lies in composure. They will carry that lesson with them, and they will become an adult who spreads peace instead of conflict. That is the legacy you want to leave. It's important to reflect on the fact that yelling is often not about the other person. It's about you. It is your frustration, your lack of control, your impatience spilling out. The other person may have made a mistake, yes, but the way you choose to respond reveals your character more than their error. You cannot control how others act, but you can always control how you react. Every time you react with yelling, you are saying, I am not in control of myself. But every time you respond with calmness, You are proving to yourself and others, I have mastered myself. And self-mastery is one of the greatest achievements a person can strive for. Think about the last time someone yelled at you. Did it inspire you? Did it make you respect them? Or did it make you feel hurt, angry, belittled? Now think about the last time someone spoke to you kindly, even when you made a mistake. How did that feel? It probably touched your heart, made you feel respected, and motivated you to improve. This is the difference between yelling and gentleness. Yelling pushes people away, while gentleness draws them closer. Yelling makes people resist, while gentleness inspires change. Yelling hard ends hearts, while gentleness softens them. Sometimes we convince ourselves that yelling shows authority, but true authority does not need to shout. True authority speaks firmly but calmly. It is consistent, not loud. It is grounded in respect, not fear. A teacher who yells at their students may silence them, but they will never truly inspire them. A teacher who guides with patience and firmness without losing control earns both respect and loyalty. The same applies to parents, leaders, friends, and anyone in a position of influence. We must also understand that yelling often escalates situations rather than resolving them. One raised voice leads to another, and soon what could have been a simple disagreement becomes a heated conflict. And once tempers flare, people stop listening. They stop thinking. They stop caring about the issue at hand and focus only on defending themselves. This is how small problems turn into broken relationships. But if one person chooses not to yell, if one person chooses to stay calm, the conflict can be diffused before it grows. Peace can only be preserved when someone decides to rise above the urge to shout. Consider the power of words when they are spoken gently. A soft tone does not mean a weak message. In fact, it often carries more weight. Think of a calm stream of water. It may seem gentle, but over time it can carve valleys and shape landscapes. In the same way, gentle words, consistently spoken, can transform hearts and change lives. Harsh words may cause an immediate reaction, but gentle words cause lasting reflection. We often underestimate the impact of our tone on others. You may be saying something true, something important, but if you say it in a loud and harsh manner, your message is lost. People focus more on how you said it than on what you said. On the other hand, if you speak calmly, respectfully, and with sincerity, people are more likely to actually listen and absorb your words. So ask yourself, do you want to just speak or do you want to be heard? Because yelling allows you to speak, but gentleness allows you to be truly heard. It is also worth mentioning that yelling not only hurts others, but also diminishes your own inner peace. After an outburst, you often feel drained, guilty, or regretful. Your mind replays the incident and you wish you had handled it differently. That regret weighs heavily on the soul. But when you remain calm, you walk away with dignity. You walk away knowing you chose the higher path, that you did not let anger control you. That peace of mind is priceless, and it is only found through self-control. Life is already full of stress, challenges, and difficulties. Why add more by yelling? Instead, choose to be a source of calmness in the storm. Choose to be the one who diffuses tension, not the one who fuels it. Imagine how different your home, your workplace, your friendships would be if you became known as the person who never raises their voice, the person whose words bring comfort, the person whose presence brings peace. That is the kind of person who truly makes a difference in the lives of others. Of course, this does not mean you should never speak firmly. Sometimes firmness is necessary, but firmness does not require yelling. You can be firm and calm at the same time. In fact, firmness without yelling is far more effective. It shows that you are serious, but also respectful. It shows that you value the other person's dignity, even when correcting them. It shows that you are in control of the situation, not controlled by your anger. Think of how many relationships could have been saved if people had chosen not to yell. Think of how many conflicts could have been avoided. Think of how many children would have grown up with more confidence, more love, and more security if their parents had guided them with patience instead of shouting. The consequences of yelling may seem small in the moment, but they accumulate over time. And the consequences of patience may also seem small, but they too accumulate, building stronger bonds, healthier relationships, and deeper love. Every day you will face situations that test your patience. Someone will cut you off in traffic. Someone will make a mistake at work. Someone in your family will say something that upsets you. These are opportunities to practice self-control. These are the moments where you decide whether to add more negativity to the world or more peace. Remember, the easiest choice is not always the best one. Yelling may feel easy, but calmness is what brings lasting benefit. When you choose not to yell, you are not just helping others, you are helping yourself. You are preserving your relationships, protecting your dignity, and safeguarding your inner peace. You are proving to yourself that you are stronger than your emotions. And with every moment of self-control, you grow stronger, wiser, and more respected. So the next time you feel that anger rising, pause. Remind yourself that yelling will not solve the problem. Remind yourself that harsh words cannot be taken back. Remind yourself that your legacy is being written in every word you speak. And then choose calmness, choose wisdom, choose gentleness, because those choices will build a life of peace, love, and respect, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Because those choices will build a life of peace, love, and respect, not just for you, but for everyone around you. And it is these ices that determine what kind of environment you create in your life. Every home has an atmosphere. Some homes are filled with warmth, laughter, and tranquility, while others are filled with tension, fear, and unease. The difference often lies not in wealth or possessions, but in the way people treat one another. A house where yelling is common becomes a place people dread coming back to. But a house where voices are calm, where disagreements are handled with patience, becomes a safe haven. Everyone longs to return to such a place because it nourishes the soul. The same is true for workplaces. There are offices where the air is heavy with fear, where employees constantly look over their shoulders, where one mistake leads to shouting and humiliation. Productivity may exist, but it is born of fear, not of dedication. And then there are offices where leaders correct mistakes with dignity, where feedback is given with respect, where guidance is firm, but never degrading. In those places, people work harder, not because they fear yelling, but because they love the environment. They respect their leaders and want to give their best. See how tone can transform not only relationships, but entire atmospheres. Yelling is like fire. Once it starts, it spreads quickly, consuming everyone around. A parent yells at a child. The child goes to school angry. They take it out on their friends, and the cycle continues. A boss yells at an employee. The employee goes home frustrated, speaks harshly to their family, and the cycle continues. But gentleness is also like fire, except it spreads warmth instead of destruction. One act of kindness can ripple outwards in ways you cannot imagine. A calm response to provocation may inspire others to do the same. A soft word in a moment of tension can stop an argument from exploding. Your gentleness has the power to shift not only your own mood, but the moods of everyone around you. But to achieve this, you must begin within yourself. You must learn to recognize the triggers that make you want to yell. Is it stress? Is it tiredness? Is it feeling disrespected? Whatever the cause, once you recognize it, you can work on addressing it in healthier ways. If you know stress makes you short-tempered, then find ways to manage stress before it spills out onto others. If tiredness makes you irritable, make sure you rest. If feeling disrespected makes you want to raise your voice, remind yourself that your dignity is not preserved by yelling, but by maintaining composure. Self-awareness is the first step to self-mastery. And remember, patience does not mean you ignore problems. It means you face them wisely. Sometimes people think if they do not yell, then they are being too lenient, but that is not true. You can address wrongs, correct mistakes, and hold people accountable without ever raising your voice. Firmness and gentleness are not opposites. They go hand in hand. The most effective correction is when the person being corrected feels respected, not humiliated. They are far more likely to change when they know you care about them as a person. Think of the difference between a gardener who yells at their plants and one who tends to them with care. Yelling will not make a plant grow faster, but water, sunlight, and gentle care will. Human beings are no different. You cannot scream someone into becoming better, but you can nurture them with encouragement, guidance, and patience. Growth takes time, and yelling only stunts it. Many times people raise their voices because they feel they are not being heard. But louder does not mean clearer. In fact, the louder you speak, the less people listen. If you truly want to be heard, lower your voice, choose your words carefully, and speak with sincerity. People do not remember the volume of your words. They remember the weight of your words. And words spoken calmly carry far more weight than words screamed in anger. Another point to reflect on is how yelling affects trust. Every relationship is built on trust. When you yell at someone, especially someone close to you, you chip away at that trust. They may start to feel that they cannot be open with you, that they cannot share their mistakes with you because they fear your reaction. Slowly, distance grows. They may obey you outwardly, but withdraw inwardly. And what is a relationship without trust and openness? On the other hand, when you respond with calmness, even in moments of disappointment, you strengthen that trust. You show the other person that they are safe with you, that they can come to you without fear of humiliation. That kind of trust builds stronger, deeper connections. We must also realize that yelling is often temporary satisfaction for long-term damage. In the heat of the moment, yelling may feel good. It may feel like you released your frustration. But afterwards, the damage remains. You cannot erase the words you said. You cannot erase the look of hurt on someone's face. You cannot erase the memory of that moment from their heart. So was that moment of release worth the damage caused? Would it not have been better to take a deep breath, to pause, to speak with restraint? Temporary silence is far better than permanent regret. There are countless stories of people who regretted their last words being harsh ones. They lost someone they loved, and the memory of their last interaction was filled with yelling. That regret haunts them. Do not let that be your story. You never know which moment might be your last with someone. Make sure your words are ones you can live with, words that bring peace rather than pain. Think also about how yelling impacts your reputation. Every person you interact with forms an impression of you. Do you want to be known as the one who cannot control their temper, the one whose voice dominates every room, the one people avoid? Or do you want to be known as the one whose calm presence brings balance, the one whose words carry wisdom, the one people seek for advice? Your reputation is shaped not only by what you say, but by how you say it. A calm voice builds credibility, while a loud one destroys it. When you choose calmness, you also create space for solutions. Yelling clouds judgment. It focuses only on blame. But calmness opens the door to solutions. It allows you to see the bigger picture, to think clearly, to work together with others rather than against them. Most problems in life are not solved by shouting louder. They are solved by thinking smarter, by collaborating, by communicating effectively. And do not underestimate the power of example. When you control your voice, you inspire others to do the same. Your children learn from you. Your colleagues notice you. Your friends respect you. Slowly your calmness spreads and you begin to change the culture around you. What greater gift can you give than to be a source of peace in a world full of noise and chaos? Even when you are the one being yelled at, you still have a choice. You can mirror their behavior or you can rise above it. Responding calmly to someone who yells at you is not weakness, it is strength. It shows that you refuse to let their anger control your mood. It shows that you value your dignity more than winning an argument. And often, your calm response will make the other person realize their mistake far quicker than yelling back ever would. Life is too precious to waste on raised voices and broken hearts. Every day, you have the chance to use your words as tools of healing, encouragement, and love. Do not squander that gift. Choose words that uplift, tones that soothe, and voices that bring comfort. In doing so, you not only transform your own life, but also the lives of everyone around you. And the reward of that is far greater than the fleeting satisfaction of yelling